Senator King.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General, I want to focus on a word that you used 4 or 5 times in one of your first couple of answers, and that word is collaborate and collaborative. The cyber conflict is different than conflict in history. We're not talking about Army against Army and Air Force against Air Force, Navy against Navy. We're talking about 85% of the target space in the private sector. So collaboration and really a new level of trust and collaboration, it seems to me, is going to be necessary. Is this something that you believe that in your history with the military, you will be able to transition to having that kind of relationship of trust and collaboration with the private sector and NSA when you take over that position?
Senator, this is an important issue, and I think it's been enabled both by the Congress and by the Department of Defense to have that collaboration within industry, both from U.S. Cyber Command and the National Security Agency. The ability to share directly with industry while also teaming with our teammates in DHS and FBI has been a really critical enabler. NSA has been enabled by the department to do a partnership with the defense industrial base and build a collaborative relationship to share information in both ways from a threat perspective. And NSA has also begun to provide cybersecurity services to the defense industrial base. Those are the types of partnerships that, as we see those initial indicators, those are the potential things that, if confirmed, I'll look at how do we scale that.
Well, you have to. I think your answer is exactly right. But the resulting product of this is a kind of collaboration that doesn't come naturally to either side, and trust has to be established. And I hope that's something that's also in your calculation. As Senator Langford said, the companies have to feel comfortable and in a trustful way to share this information with you. I was asked a question this morning in a public forum about Ukraine and why we didn't have more cyber attacks from Russia as a result, because everyone was expecting. Part of it, as you testified, was the Ukrainian skill working with us and the work that was done to help them defend their networks and to be more able to be resilient. But part of it, I said publicly, I think the Russians were afraid of Paul Nakasone. There's a deterrent effect that is very important. The concept that he established was called defend forward. Do you subscribe to that concept that we have to have a deterrent that adversaries feel that coming against us in a cyber attack of some kind is not a free lunch?
Senator, I think we need to engage our adversaries if they're conducting activities that are malign and have a negative impact on the national security of the United States or a negative impact on our allies and partners. And that ability to do that and the ability to put pressure on them, expose their activities, while also making our allies and partners more resilient is absolutely critical every day so that they know that they're contested.
Well, and the key phrase you just used was they know. It's not a deterrent if they don't know it, if they don't know that we have the capability. And I think you have to be aggressive in terms of letting our adversaries know that if they attack the United States in cyberspace, there will be a proportional and hurtful response.
And I think from if confirmed, Senator, in the roles that I will play, it'll be my role to be able to produce options that are also consequential and ensure that across how we integrate with all the other elements of our national capabilities to be able to ensure that we do have a realistic deterrent and to be able to present that.
Well, I hope to see intelligence over the next several years where one of our adversaries said, we better not do this because we're afraid of that General Hawk guy. So that's a mission. Insider threats and counterintelligence. If I think back to our major intelligence briefs, going back to Aldrich Ames and after that, we cannot possibly vet people to the point where there is a zero chance of somebody turning on their country. Therefore, you mentioned technical means, General, and I was surprised, for example, in the recent case that we didn't know when information was being exfiltrated from a classified system. Are we working on technical means to have a greater grasp of our secure information rather than hoping that the people that we have hired will never succumb to whatever the temptation is to betray their country? Let's start with you, Mike.
Thank you for the question, Senator. So
Not sitting in the seat, I don't know all the details, but my understanding is there's a certain amount of agency by agency. Different agencies have implemented things.
Could you come closer to the mic, please?
Sorry, different agency. My understanding is that different agencies have implemented different technical means to do
Well,
exactly
that's a
what you're
problem right
discussing.
there.
Yes, Senator.
How about, if you're in charge of this center, how about some uniformity of process?
So my understanding is that there's a current intelligence community review of the recent disclosures underway at the moment, and that when that's finished, my expectation, were I to be confirmed, that through the role of the involvement of the National Insider Threat Task Force, that those lessons would be shared with different agencies, and then it's a matter of essentially shaming them into getting the job done.
General, I hope you're going to be astride of highly capable technical agency. I hope that it will have as one of its missions figuring out how to protect this information using, as you say, technical means. Is that, do you see that as part of your mission?
Yes, Senator. I think overall, the National Security Agency is relied upon to provide, if it's not within the specific role of the national manager for national security systems, it certainly is to provide advice on how best to use technology to protect our national security information.
Thank you both, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think good question, Senator King. I do think, at least in my conversations, that under General Nakasoni's leadership, and also, frankly, because the NSA has been the victim of so many of these issues, the notion of copying documents and walking out, they have taken corrective action. I think the rest of the IC can learn from. I don't think if Mr. Teixeira has ended up proven guilty that he would have gotten away at that at the NSA.